Remember back in 2003 after you went shopping for mom and you asked her to buy Devil May Cry? Then she stopped, had a gaze at you, and said, "We have DMC at home." Well, indeed. Hello everyone, my name is Jules and welcome to another video. After finally deep diving into some brilliant games, now it's time to do the opposite, as I play through Devil May Cry 2. We're playing all the way to Dante's campaign, and to prove that I'm a true video gamer, I also endure Lucius' campaign for the sake of entertainment. Join me as I thoroughly analyze this cursed game that nearly single-handedly dealt a fatal blow to an entire franchise. And if you're new to the channel, considering liking and subscribing for more content like this. Tell me, which game should I play next? With that said, get some popcorn and prepare your motorcycle license, because today we're going all the way to hell. Literally. Oh, good lord. I never played Devil May Cry 2 back in the day. To be honest, I was firstly introduced to the franchise back in 2005 when I got my hands into DMC 3 Special Edition. My dad was the one that bought me and told me that it was a good one. And I remember being scared of the menu music. Not joking. I only had the displeasure of playing Devil May Cry 2 long after its release, the Devil May Cry HD Collection, bundling the classic Devil Hunters trilogy adventures that I got the chance to experience. I started with the first game, had an amazing time learning more about the lore and enjoying some high-octane hack-and-slash gameplay, and when I boot up the second one, I was graced with desperation and crippling depression. The purpose of this video is to revisit this infamous entry 20 years later, exploring the good, the bad, while seeking to understand why and how this project deviates so far from its original. This game is so cursed that even my PC didn't want to run. As I was recording the gameplay, every time I alt-tapped the game to check if it was recording, the game completely froze. This happened to me 6 times. Solution? I just hit record and pray for Sparta for OBS to capture everything. Otherwise, this video wouldn't even exist. The game starts with Dante shooting at the camera, and right off the bat, some fast action rock music starts to blast as the intro plays, showing some action-packed set pieces as Dante slashes and dashes through the array of enemies and bosses. Really well edited with some cool cinematic shots, just teasing the player with what they were about to experience. And they indeed delivered the opposite. When DMC1 released in Japan, it was an instant hit. Not long after, Capcom decided to port it to the rest of the world. Meanwhile, Capcom made the decision to hire a team that primarily had experience with arcade games in the past to develop a sequel. To make matters worse, none of the developers from the first game were involved. Even Hideki Kamiya, the original director of the first game, only knew about DMC2 months later into development. With 4 months into release, Capcom was dissatisfied with the project's progress. They brought in Hideaki Itsuno to salvage the situation, but by then, the damage had already been done. In fact, when he arrived as a director, they hadn't even finalized the combat system yet. Yes, in a Devil May Cry game, they left the combat as the last piece. Itsuno attempted to rectify the already troubled game, but it proved to be a true recipe for failure. Interestingly enough, the game actually sold well, with 1.7 million copies sold, compared to the original game 2.1 million. Capcom was fortunate in that regard, despite shooting themselves in the foot. After this backstory, we can already piece out together why this game became so legendarily bad. However, to further solidify this notion, let's delve into the experience and explore the numerous layers that make the sequel one of the worst ever created. Before writing the script, one of my friends asked why DMC2 was so bad, and my response was, if you just watch the intro, you will understand. And here we are. Embrace DMC2 Introduction.
In a time long since past, in an age of darkness, when the earth was overrun with demons and humans were powerless under their rule. Humanity's hope lived in a demon named Sparda. With a spirit unlike any other, and wielding the sword that bore his own name, Sparda eradicated the demons. And now, the legend of Sparda has been inherited by his son, the demon slayer, Dante.
You called?
Till next time, son of Sparda.
What was that? Okay, so Devil May Cry intros are always a spectacle, introducing not only the cast, but also enemies in a magnificent, cinematic way. However, in DMC2, there's just a cool moment of Dante's blast some harpies as he falls off the roof, and right after hearing this questionable line,
Till next time, son of Sparda.
surprisingly, Dante didn't react. He didn't say almost anything. Who is this red-hatted woman? Why is Dante here? What is this coin? Why is the dialogue so bad and non-existent? What is the plot? This intro accomplished almost nothing beyond restating Sparda's story and his relation to Dante, which was already explained in the first game, yet it's nothing new to the sequel. Okay, Jules, chill. This is just the first cutscene. Let's just play the first mission, right? I swear I didn't edit anything. This is exactly how the game starts. It feels incredibly lacking in so many aspects. Some people call Resident Evil 4 Remake soulless, but if that game is soulless, then Devil May Cry 2 is death itself. As I mentioned in my previous video, the first few minutes of the game are crucial for its success. However, here we have no explanations, no plot, no reason to be invested. We don't even get an introduction to Dante beyond knowing he's the son of Sparda. It's disappointing, especially if you play DMC3 and 1 like I did before playing this one. Right, let's forget about the game design principles for a bit and just try to enjoy. Let's see some animations, okay? Left analog stick to walk, triangle to execute a melee attack, okay. And here's some... This is the exact same face that I'm doing right now playing through this game. Okay, let's get professional. So again, left analog stick moves your character, triangle uses your melee attack, Combining both analog and triangle, you can pull some combos, but most of Dante's attacks are only available if you don't use your lock system, which is a mechanic that we'll be explaining more later. But for now, the only thing you need to know is that R1 lock onto your character, but also the game has an auto lock system which chooses randomly which enemies it will target for you. And that's a big problem. More on that later. Now, circle serves as a dodge button, which is a welcome addition. However, it is almost useless because you cannot cancel any attack animation to dodge. For instance, if you are attacking an enemy with a 4-second animation and the enemy attacks you during the animation, even if you have the reflexes to press circle to dodge, Dante will not interrupt the attack animation. This issue occurs frequently, making the combat feels really sluggish and uninspired. Also, pressing circle near a wall will make Dante wall run? The X button functions as the jump button. Jumping near a wall allows you to perform a double jump. Additionally, you can combine jumping with melee and ranged attacks while mid-air. Talking about ranged attacks, you have Dante's trusty pistols, Ebony and Ivory. Pressing square, you can shoot your enemies. And prepare your wrists because this game will give you carpal tunnel after an entire playthrough. Shooting is the best option here. Like, no joke, you can literally tease the entire game with your pistols. To be more specific, if you only upgrade your pistols, you will be melting anyone who tried to cross your path. There's a couple more inputs left, but I will explain as we go. So let's begin whatever this game sets up, even though it didn't set up anything or... Why am I playing this game? Devil May Cry is well known for smoking, sexy, stylish gameplay that is packed with tons of different combos and variations for each weapon, rewarding the player with more damage as your style meter fills up, and combining everything with high energy music, voice acting, sound design, and smooth inputs with no delay. You have the perfect recipe for the best combat ever created. But here... wow. Embrace combat. After playing the first battle set piece in DMC3, my heart was pumping adrenaline. Here, my heart almost stopped. Everything feels so lacking. The introduction is dull, but the music at least is decent at best. There's zero impact in every swipe, the animations feel sluggish, and Dante's pistols are so stupidly funny. What is that? You can shoot an enemy until he gets stun lock in the air, and you can do this with almost any enemy that will be encountered in the entire game. The sword feels like a piece of plastic bumping into butter? It's just beyond boring. And the camera? What is this angle? Why? Oh, Jules, maybe it's just a bug that happened in that spot. No, it's not, and you'll be seeing it throughout the video. The camera here is just awful. There's no reason to have a cinematic camera if you don't have anything to show to the player. Most of the enemies will be flying out of the camera's view, attacking you while you blast them from long range with your pistols, just watching their health bars drain. And speaking of health bars, what happened to the fonts in this game? As a graphic designer myself, I was just dying inside while reading through those abominations. What is this spacing? Kerning is bad in this game. We are halfway through the first mission, and still, why am I here? What is the plot? Why Dante is just going where he's going? Okay, so combat is bad, we have no motivation to advance through the game, so maybe the environment is terrific, right? Wrong. The environment here feels like a kid just learned how to make levels using free assets from Unreal, and they put all together with no thought whatsoever. There's no interest in set pieces. The color palettes are bland, with boring brownish tones and just a lack of inspiration in general. There's nothing to entice the player to explore, or at least stop to admire the view. And talking about exploration is not worth at all. Look at this example where I was playing Lucia and there was 2 entries. I choose the one that seems not to be the right way. And guess what I found? Yes, nothing. It was a completely waste of my time. Another example, I walked all the way around this highway to be rewarded with a red orb. God damn it. Let's talk about the orbs and what they do, shall we? As I mentioned earlier, red orbs serve as the in-game currency, which you obtain by defeating enemies or exploring. These red orbs can be spent in the power-up menu before each mission or at a golden statue. With red orbs, you can purchase items to refuel your health or devil trigger, which I will explain later. Additionally, you can acquire blue or purple orbs. Blue orbs upgrade your maximum health, while purple orbs increase the size of your devil trigger bar. Eventually, you may come across gold orbs. These orbs revive you with some of your health and devil trigger bar restored. And if you want to get some health, you can also find green orbs to refill it or white orbs to charge your devil trigger even faster. And one more thing about red orbs, you can use them to upgrade your weapons. In the first Devil May Cry game, you could purchase moves specific to each weapon, gradually making yourself more powerful as you progress through the game. However, in this game, you can only upgrade the damage of your weapons, and that's it. You expend a substantial amount of orbs for a damage upgrade that you can barely even notice. The progression in this game is essentially unrewarding. It's evident that the developers were aware of this. Considering I unlock an achievement for upgrading all Dante's melee weapons to level 3? Surprisingly, only 2.7% of players have achieved this, and level 3 isn't even the maximum level. It seems like developers intentionally made reaching the maximum level a punishment of sorts. At the end of the first mission, there's a section where you walk through a city. This further reinforces my point about the environment being lacking. Take a look on how soulless it feels to simply walk in this area. Oh, finally, a cutscene. I hope they finally introduce a plot to explain the reason for all of this for Sparta's sake. There's so many things that I want to talk about this layout. Why the letter B is covering this phrase? Oh, okay, screw it. I'm just going to ignore it. Nope, I'm not doing this.
Good grief. They really made a big mess, didn't they?
That was what Itsuno said after his first day as a director.
It sure took him a while to find this place. Oh, you have arrived, son of Sparta.
You knew him?
Oh, yes. We are the guardians of this land, Vidumali. Our clan once fought against the demons with Sparta, son of Sparta. We must ask this favor of you. You see, there's a man who's transformed our land into a demon's paradise. His name is Arius. And although he is the president of an international public corporation, he uses the demon power. Please, deal with Arius and his master for us.
Looks like it's your lucky day.
Why? when does Dante now decide the fate of something throwing a coin? This is so stupid! And to make matters worse, this will be a crucial plot point going further, so keep this coin in mind. And the payoff is legendarily bad.
If you are successful, I will tell you a story about your father, son of Sparta.
That's my reward? A story. I will kill a demon that is bringing destruction to the entire world, named Ares, and if I succeeded, she will tell me a story about my father? Wow, that's enough motivation for me. Let's go, Dante. Those guideposts for hunters are so nonsense. It doesn't add to anything. There's no story or any clue or piece of lore to move the plot forward. It's just that to the sake of reading? The only thing that can make this game even worse is the sewer section, and I'm so done with this game. One thing that I really hate is how they disrespect the tension building going to a fight. You have to stay there until the enemy fully spawned. You cannot hit him before that, it completely breaks the immersion. And talking a bit about combat, the way most of Dante's combos end is throwing the enemy really far away from you. So mid-battle, you have to stop and run all the way to collect the red orbs, which is a must if you want to upgrade your weapons, because it gets really expensive to the point that you need to play through some missions to upgrading one weapon once. The intention of the sewers seems to be an exploration and puzzle-oriented level. However, the puzzles presented are both confusing and simplistic. Take for instance this one puzzle where you enter a room, expecting to be a sequence memorization challenge where you have to jump onto the correct plates into the right order to open a secret passage. Or maybe a puzzle where you have to follow the light stepping onto the right platings, but in reality, this was the puzzle. You just break those magical spheres to light up one of the torches until you light enough to open the door. There's no visual feedback, no sound, anything. You just start spamming the attack button until something happens, and then you only realize the solution only after the door has opened. It's so unintuitive. One other thing that is stupid is how you just turn a corner and all of a sudden there's a new enemy type. Just there, menacingly, as the music starts playing in the background. There's no introduction, no characterization, just new enemy, and you know what to do. Oh no, it's the Pyromancer! No worries, meet Handgunmancer. After entering this room, we finally get an introduction to some big satanic figures that at first glance look like a boss fight. But it's just more flying enemies. And oh my god, this game loves flying enemies. They are always out of the camera range, so the solution 99% of the time is to lock on and spam the square button until their life bars reach 0. And that's what I did. We finish up with those goats so we get rewarded with a new power. And get used to this animation because it's the only one that will be played every time you get a new power. Now is a great time to explain the Devil Trigger, because the game didn't do it at all. No joke. I only discovered that I had Devil Trigger after accidentally pressing the L1 trigger. Essentially, the Devil Trigger enhances all Dante's moves. When active, it depletes the yellow Devil Trigger bar, and to refill it, you have to damage an enemy, rewarding the player for aggressive playstyle. This is good design. By doing so, Dante moves and attacks faster, and his melee and ranged damage increase significantly. It can even melt bosses' health bars just by activating and shooting it. You can also modify your devil trigger by using amulets, which are items scattered throughout the game. These amulets can provide various enhancements such as increased move speed, attack damage, and even the addition of a fly mechanic, which is the one that we just obtained. Take a closer look at this stellar mechanic. I love that the mission just ended with no climax or anything and just started with Dante staring at the camera. This is pure gold. And one more thing, look, you can see a glimpse of an out-of-bounds area right at the beginning of the level. Here's an interesting section that has potential. Don't get used to me complimenting this game because it will be rare. You have to go all the way down the streets as you dodge those flames coming out of the ground as you fight some enemies. But in reality, you can ignore all the enemies and they will not present any threat whatsoever. Finally, it was time for the first boss fight. I was eager to finally be put into the task, to see if I mastered the mechanics and combining them to a thrilling and awesome action-packed fighting sequence, and I just shot him to death. Here's an example on how much I hate that most of my finishers throw the enemy away from Dante. Here I'm fighting some Mr. Sira, whatever is riding on that. After killing those enemies, there is a brief delay of couple seconds before their bodies despawn and grant me the red orbs. This delay significantly disrupts the fighting pace because I have to stop and collect the orbs, otherwise they will disappear. Unfortunately, it doesn't take long for them to vanish. We're almost done with mission 4 and the plot is kill Arius. Who is Arius? Why am I here? Why did I kill the last boss? And why is still here? Just to suffer? We watch the same animation again so we can get this new amulet to run faster. Dante's gotta go fast. Let's explore a bit of the menu, shall we? Here we can switch between amulets and weapons. So let me use my latest addition, the Quick Heart. Scrolling around a bit, I found that the weapons have description. That's nice. Let's see what is written on them so we can expand the lore and twin pistols the fire magic bullets. Right. You can also find a moveset. Great, so we can see all the combos and no, there's only the basic ones. This game didn't even bother to teach you the moves, already knowing that you only need to use your magic pistols. Oh, there's an enemy file. Maybe it expands the lore and... I don't know why I still have hopes for this game. But look at this one here. Flambat. A bat-shaped spirit that emits fire by sucking the soul from a leaving bin. They are dangerous to fight when in groups. Indeed, really dangerous. Another boss fight. And what is that? You know what it reminds me of? Have you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories from PS1 and when attacking, instead of pressing X, you press square so you can see the animation of the monsters battling? Yes, this boss looks like exactly one of those monsters. And if you also did the same, you now have to like and subscribe. Okay, maybe this time I will need to utilize my dodge mechanics to evade the tentacles while slashing off for a clear shot and nope. I just stand here and shoot her to death. Finishing her off will get me the shotgun. Great! Spoiler, I didn't use the shotgun at all. The transitions between missions are comical. They didn't show anything in between. Dante is just that, waiting. Finally, the mission we've all been waiting for. The infested tank. Those enemies are infamous for the advanced AI. Have a look on how it's thrilling to fight them. First of all, why infested tank? What is the purpose of this? Did you guys don't playtest this? How are you looking at this and be like, oh, DMC2, what a great game. My favorite part was to fight through the army of infested tanks. What a terrific high-octane action set piece that was. So I dealt with some of those tanks and finally, what now game? Are you going to throw me an infested helicopter? Oh wow, they actually did it. Unbelievably, they turned this into a chase sequence where you have to ascend the building jumping across platforms while a helicopter shoots missiles at you. It's a complete waste of time trying to kill the helicopter because it will respawn in the next room until you actually fight him. Before that, let me express my thoughts on platforming in this game. It simply doesn't work. The camera is always positioned in a way that lacks perspective, making it impossible to see where Dante needs to land. It becomes a trial and error process until you happen to find the right spot, and it's beyond broken. Now for the best, worst, awful... I don't even have any more vocabulary to express my feelings about this game anymore. Just embrace this lovely boss fight. Mission 6 is actually kinda good, I'm not gonna lie. The mission starts with a really good CGI, with a great epic soundtrack as this magnificent building starts to shift into a demon as Dante rushes through debris. It's really well done. Taking control of Dante, we are treated to a cinematic angle showcasing a giant demon. However, the boss battle is disappointingly easy, with a simple strategy of avoiding a white laser. The second phase, you have to just walk all the way around his back to mailing him to death. This indeed is a huge missed opportunity, and of course there's no reason for this boss to be here, no explanation, they just throw this randomly and that's it. My god, Dante is just already there inside the facility with no explanation whatsoever. The way the game introduces each level is beyond horrible, and it gets worse as we progress through the campaign. Just look at how Dante is loving this adventure so far. Even sliding through pipes looks boring. My god, did they think this would make Dante look cool or something? There was no reaction coming from him, just the sound of his boots sliding. Look at this puzzle. You enter a mechanical room and immediately find another switch right in front of you. Activating it simply unlocks another amulet that you can easily obtain. Why not make it challenging? Or add some element or hiding? The lack of inspiration in this game is evident. As I'm going all the way down the staircase, we met a new enemy. Shooting him will cause to explode, killing all the enemies around him. That's great, right? Rewarding the player for using an enemy attack for his advantage. We get a new power, and guess what? If you say the same animation, you won. Oh wow, elevator section. I'm expecting to be surrounded by tons of enemies as I try my best to find them in this confined space as an... good lord, this is low-octane gameplay. It's been 7 missions and the game only gave me a shotgun so far. What are you expecting to happen? There's barely no plot until now. The bosses were really bad design. You can tease the whole game pressing square and Dante is bland as a piece of wet cardboard. At least give me new weapons so I can try to do something new. And not long after, another elevator with the same idea. No, this is a joke at this point. As I was exploring for some orbs, I found my first secret mission, which here is just kill some enemies. And that's it. No time limit, no stronger enemies or killing them with a handicap. No, it's just kill them however you want. Why bother to put those in the game then? It's just a square-shaped room. Even the environment itself is just boring. Wait, is that...
Heihachi Mishima.
Well, what have we here?
Do you have to ask?
Maybe another time.
This is the main villain, Arius. The only thing that is moving the plot. And the first thing that happens is this dialogue.
Do you have to ask?
What did you guys have for breakfast before writing this? How could I care for the plot, for the villain, if there's nothing at stake? Dantes basically doesn't show any emotion. So as Arius. How did the player get invested in this story? And to make matters worse, I thought this at least would be a good boss fight until I realized that melee attacks are awful against him. Solution? Imagine being in a high security factor after an explosion that leaves the building on the verge of collapse. The danger and tension are palpable. Now, what kind of security alarm do you think would suit the situation? Just imagine. Right? Okay? Now that you guys have the sound in your head, just have a listen on how thrilling the alarm sounds in DMC2.
Caution. Warning.
Can you guys feel the tension yet? We finally found a new weapon after being halfway through the game. My god, this better be good because I need some newcomers to vary. Good lord, this sword has exactly the same moves as the Rebellion. And one more thing, you can switch between ranged weapons mid-combat but not melee, which makes sense because they're all the same. And here is why the automatic lock system was really poor implemented. I have to hit those switches so I can activate this door, but every time that I try to attack, Dante just swings into the direction of those harpies. So I tried to get rid of them first, but they respawn endlessly. My god, why? One cool tip that you can do is press R2 to deactivate the lock-on, but the game doesn't tell you about that or anything in this game. You just have to figure it out all by yourself. I didn't know about R2 while I was playing through the game, so I just jumped and pressed triangle. Good lord. At this point, I'm being pedantic, but why are the doors so small compared to Dante? So we found another weapon, a rocket launcher, which I also didn't use much because... magical bullets. I feel bad for repeating myself, but I didn't edit anything. Dante went through the vent and then this cutscene played. No emotion, no dialogue, no explanation, and I'm not even going to elaborate further. A cemetery, of course! Why not? I was not expecting this. Oh yes, because the game has no plot. Pyromancer? Meet Bazookamancer. This level is so random. We need to activate 2 switches to open this door, so we can activate another switch to battle a giant moth? Why? And by the way, this battle sucks. The moth barely does anything, and the larvas are a pain to attack. It is beyond boring, and legitimately, it feels like a waste of time. And after defeating them, can you guess what happened? Yes, nothing! Most of the missions in this game are fillers, and they are not even fun to play. No interesting puzzles, no combination of mechanics, no exploration, no decent bosses. This game has no positives. This is unacceptable. How did they greenlight this? As I progressed further into this madness, I realized that now they are just recoloring enemies and changing the names. At this point, they just gave up. Not like they were trying or something. Also, look at how long it takes for the Goling to give me the red orbs. What are those textures? Where I'm supposed to be? Here is an example of how the level design was flawed. You have to jump platform to platform, hitting a precise jump so you can finally reach the top to activate this switch, so the elevator at the center of the room will activate for you to progress through the level. Or you can just activate Devil Trigger and fly. Yeah, good design. This boss fight had the potential to be good, but is hindered by the poorly designed combat system. Whenever you attempt melee attacks, you notice that the boss attack cooldown is faster than Dante's melee animation. As a result, if you initiate a combo animation, you will get hit without any chance to dodge. Solution? You guys already know. Here's another example of the flawed lock-on system in a poorly designed boss fight. In this fight, you are required to break the hexagons that fly around the sphere while dodging lightning. The issue lies with the lock-on system, which only targets the surrounding skulls that keep respawning endlessly. As a result, you are left manually trying to hit the hexagons without a clear understanding of Dante's movements or attack landing points due to the poorly positioned camera. This leads to frustration and an overall lack of intuitiveness. After finally beating this spherical nightmare, we are graced by some amazing voice acting. And notice that Lucius' lips stop moving at some point.
Did you find what you were looking for?
Yes. Now we can stop Arius' ambition.
Whatever.
But actually, I do not deserve this power. Bring this to Mathieu for me. Please. I've got something that I need to take care of.
Another cutscene, and guess what? The plot is still a mystery. We just know that Lucia needs to take care about something and tell us to deliver this artifact to Granny. Amazing storytelling. And oh, another boss fight. Can I soft lock him as I safely shoot at him until he dies? Yes, I can. Oh, okay, now we know those artifacts are called Arcanas. That explains a lot. Not really, I'm just joking. Why Dante is helping her? It feels like it's his pastime. He's just bored and he wants to do something. And I love that they make sure to show us the coin as this really badass thing that Dante does to show that his character really doesn't give a damn about anything. My god, this is just bad.
Kill me!
That man is going to bring me the Arcana shortly.
Wait, how did he know that was bringing the Arcanas? What did I miss? And again, how am I already here? There's no such a thing as progression in this game. These things just happen for the sake of happening. Good lord, I didn't think this could get even worse. They're trying so hard to make Dante look super serious and cool at the same time. And look, we're fighting Arceus. I guess we will be a great boss battle. He's the driving force of all this plot and nope, he's laughable, goofy, and his attacks are almost non-existent. You just attack him and that's it. At least melee is super effective here this time. There's no challenge, no attack that you need to dodge or anything challenging to make this battle at least okay. Look, he's just standing there and he's lighting up his cigar. Oh my god. Why? Just smash the attack button until you are graced by one of the most atrocious cutscenes that I ever experienced in a game before. And just watch how smooth the transition from boss battle to cutscene feels.
I must obtain the power of Argosax, or I cannot transcend all living things.
Oh yes, thank you so much for explaining your plan out of nowhere. At least we have some more information now.
Too easy.
Even Dante knows this game is a joke.
You cannot win. Someone is holding you back.
Forget about me. Kill Arius.
Don't worry. I've got you.
Why didn't you kill him? You were just playing around in the boss battle. You had the upper hand. Why didn't you just finish him off? My god, my brain just melted right now. I guess this should be an emotional scene, right? We barely know Lucia. We only know that she's Arya's daughter or something. And now Dante's just throws some really bad one-liners. Like he's a coach telling you to get rid of depression because you are beautiful. How can I get invested in the story if the characters are bland and boring? Emotional cutscenes should be avoided since there is no connection. Oh look, the quotes from the Hunter's Post Guide is foreshadowing this mission objective. 4 lights will open the door to the future and the past. Wow, spoiler, this doesn't make any sense. You just have to activate 4 switches to open a portal. There's nothing to do with past and future. This just feels like an edgy teenager just wrote a book and is trying to put some really philosophical quotes that don't fit with the plot at all. Oh great, reuse level. What's next? Reusing a boss from the MC1 because you know the game is bad, so you're just trying to play a fun service card so we don't lose the player, and oh my god, they did it, and they still messed this up. It's not the same iconic fight it was from the original. No, you cannot even do more damage attacking his back. It's so lacking. They just reused his model with some attacks. And also, why he's here? There's no... Oh, wait. The door to the future and past. That's why. I'm out of words now. And here's a perfect example of wasting your time. Why this mission is not a secret one? It would fit like a glove. Here you are in a time limit and you have to kill all the enemies before it expires. It's just that, not joking. You can cut this mission and it will make no difference to the plot. Hell, you can skip the whole game and still have the full understanding of the entire DMC lore. So we enter the portal and of course we are here. I'm so lost. Why are we here? Where is here? How Dante knew about the portal? Okay, I give up. I'm just going to play the game, not going to try to make sense of any of this madness. Let's just enjoy the scenery as we go. Here I just wandered around those corridors for no apparent reason. It was just an empty corridor with phases that I could break to get some red orbs. For minutes, I had nothing other than this. The game lacks proper game design, with no good moments of tension or well-paced action sequences. There is no structure or logical progression from point A to point B. It feels like there's no reason behind the direction. This mission follows the same structure as the other, venturing through an uninteresting level until you find the key or the switch to open the next door so you can progress. This is a soulless game for sure. Oh, reused boss, and this time he spawned in such a bad room. Here the camera cannot follow you properly, and you will have a hard time trying to dodge his attacks and also his hellhounds. And talking about camera, look at how awful the camera gets going into this fight. What on earth was those jump cuts? And now we are teleported to a boss fight. Yep, sure, why not? Playing this game was really bad for sure, but writing a script about my experience is being such an arduous task because nothing makes sense. It feels that the more I explain, the worse it gets. So this boss fight is out of nowhere and is really weird. We have those three heads. Each one represents an element: fire, ice, and thunder. And our goal is to dodge their attacks, which are really predictable when you understand them, and just shoot. No melee here. It feels that the devs know that melee combat sucks and they are trying to throw a boss ranged only. Now it's time for the best voice acting of all time. After feeling your Dark Soul flight, this is on my top 5 best video games dialogues of all time. I'm just going to let this cutscene play. Embrace the pure and most terrific lines in video game history.
Now I'll absorb his power. I will become an all-powerful immortal. What? What's going on?
Is there a problem?
You! Is that the medallion? You switched them?
A false coin for a false god. Showtime.
No, Dante, this is not showtime. This is more like wasting time. So once again, we're finally fighting Arceus. And maybe I thought it would be harder, and indeed, I actually died here because my aim was always locking on the enemies and not on Arceus. And it was so frustrating trying to manage the lock system. Ugh. And one thing that I just discovered, because the game doesn't tell you anything, if you are under 10% of health and uses your devil trigger, you will automatically activate the sand trigger, a much more powerful DT form. Here you do more damage and throws fireballs instead of pistol shots. That was indeed a pretty cool mechanic, rewarding player for being aggressive and playing on high stakes. Good design. So I died and restarted, but this time no melee, pistols all the way. And guess what? He died really quickly. And now it's time for more top-notch voice acting. Enjoy!
My dream! My life! I was going to be the king of this world!
King? Yeah. Here's your crown.
I must say, that was nice. Oh my god, there's still more? What now? We killed the bad guy. Is he still alive?
Arius. There's just one thing left. Kill me. Kill me and everything will be over.
Everything is already over. It doesn't even started. I just knew about the plot after 50 missions in, and even then, there's so much that doesn't make sense. Why are we fighting? Oh no, don't tell me this is another emotional cutscene.
I was created by Arius. I could become a monster and attack the humans at any time. Now, kill me. It's your job to hunt devils.
So the terrible Argosax is finally free from the demon world. Even though Arius failed to summon him, the ritual is still valid, and for no apparent reason, so we must finish him. But before that, I have to show you the rest of this cutscene, so I'm not the only one that suffered from this. Again, enjoy.
What? The ritual was incomplete. But the door to the demon world is... Wait. What are you doing?
My job is hunting devils.
Once you enter the demon world, you may never be able to return. I'll go. I'm expendable. You don't need to worry about me. I'm happy if I can die like a human.
No. Devils never cry.
But...
Let's leave it to fate. Heads, I go. Tails, you go. See you around.
Don't you want to hear the story about Sparta from Mathieu?
I know. He did the same thing. Hold on to my coin, Lucia.
Do I need to say anything else? So now for the final battle we go. Here you have this weird blobby demon that has parts of every single boss that you face throughout the campaign. And one cool thing is that each part of this demon has all the moves from previous bosses, which means that the game took all the mechanics that you learn along the way and compiled everything into a boss battle. In theory, this is really good design, but on practice, this is how this boss battle went. And I was almost quitting when I learned that was the second phase, but the second phase is actually really good. I was really impressed and also really sad because here you have to use all of your mechanics to fight this demon. You can dodge and attack with precise timing. His attacks match your cooldowns so you don't get hit unfairly. Also, the camera is in such a great spot, giving you a really good field of view of the battle and following you perfectly as you fight this threat. And the thing that makes me sad is that I could see a glimpse of what this game could have been. Imagine if we got this depth of combat. Forget about the story. If at least the combat was this engaging, it would not be such a disastrous game. Such a shame that the devs couldn't pull this off. But maybe a remake in the future can. Who knows? So we finally managed to kill the last boss. And with that, I was rewarded with this. that was really cool. Damn.
Yeah. Let's go all the way to hell.
Oh, Dante, I thought I was already in hell playing this. And yeah, that was the ending. So anticlimactic, good lord. And guess what? Now we unlocked another campaign, the Lucia's one. So maybe here we will finally be able to uncover all those secrets that the game gives us, and I'm kidding, her campaign is basically the same as Dante. And to be more specific, her campaign is way shorter and it doesn't answer any questions. The game is still boring as a rock, but maybe her gameplay is good, right? Of course not. Personally, I think her moves are way worse than Dante's. She has her daggers, which are slower than the pistols, so basically it feels that you are doing less damage because of that. Also, her melee combos are somehow even more lacking. Her attacks seems to never connect properly, like they don't feel well put together. It doesn't feel good to try to go for a stylish rank. She feels even less polished than Dante, and it's crazy. So her campaign goes a bit like this. Her missions are almost the same as Dante, which doesn't make any sense. We start at the first 3 missions. The first one being the exact same as Dante, but in reverse. You go all the way back to the church to climb all the way to the top of this tower, so you can jump off and finally arrive into the same village that you started the mission 1? Why? And still, no plot, same cutscene, but the difference here is that you learn early a bit more of Lucia's past, which doesn't add anything to story. Nothing. She's just a clone created by Arius that somehow escaped from his mind control or something, and he was housed by the village that was attacked at the start of the game. Basically adding nothing to the table and just more filler content to explain the AAA full price game on the store shelves. And to prove even further this was filler content, she also has only one animation after getting a new amulet that will repeat itself throughout the entire campaign. Bosses are the same for the most part, besides an underwater sequence. Yes, it was a mistake on the MC1, and here they double down on that. However, I cannot blame them because the devs might never play the first game before making this one. But my god, this underwater level is even worse than the original. Swimming feels so clunky, you can barely control Lucian underwater, and to make things worse, you can only melee and use grenades underwater. But melee doesn't have a proper lock-on, and the grenade takes ages to blow up. You cannot throw a bomb and activate early. Why? But when you get the bowgun, things get a little better. You can now blast through some enemies with much ease until you start this boss fight. Really? The mechanics are already so bad, and on top of that, you throw me a boss battle? This Moby Dick gets invisible, and while he's on camouflage, you cannot target him. You have to swim away to dodge his attacks. But Lucia is so slow underwater that you don't have time to do it, and you would just end up getting hit over and over again. It's such a frustrating experience, and by far the worst one that I had with this game. Here's a cool mechanic that we use only once. We have to parry this fireball attack to destroy this statue. This, funnily enough, is the best puzzle of the game, just so you can see how little care they put into this. It baffles me that this thing even exists, and on top of that, is a DMC game. In Lucia's story, we have the same Arius boss battle. Wins in game and loses in the cutscene. But here, Lucia has some extra moments with Arius talking about her creation and how she is a demon. But I used the devil trigger before she learned about that. So she already knew she was a demon before? You see, they just didn't care. They don't explore anything. Lucia is basically a devil like Dante, and that's really cool from a plot standpoint. For example, look at how Dante was so happy to find Nero in DMC4. He was just intrigued that he finally found someone of his kind after years feeling alone after defeating Virgil. Here, she's treated like nothing. She had so much potential to be a really interesting character. It's just sad. I truly believe if they remake this game someday, it needs to be reimagined from the ground up. We have some interesting things that we can explore to make a compelling story, for sure. Oh, another difference. While Dante goes to the demon world to face Argosax, you end up killing Ardeus yourself, which is really cool. At least this way, you have Lucia's arc closed. Even if it was a badly written one, at least this fight has some significance. And sadly, this boss battle is super awful. I just spammed the melee attack by stun locking Ardeus to death. No joke, he's a really weak boss battle, even after transforming. Oh, wait, he has another form? Maybe now the second phase will be good as... Why do I still have hope? Look at the skimmer angle! How am I supposed to dodge his attacks like this? And you know what's worse? He spits acid on the ground and it remains there for a bit. How the hell am I supposed to know where the acid is? This is a really anticlimactic way to finish this game. Dante's campaign is really boring, but Lucius is a bit worse. At least it's way shorter. It took me less than 2 hours to finish. So with all the campaigns said and done, you unlock some Diesel clothing, which doesn't make sense? And it's really weird to see Dante's using Diesel. It's like seeing Kratos using Adidas? We also unlock Hard Mode and Blood Palace, which is basically secret missions but a bit harder. You just face hordes of enemies until you complete every level or die. With this combat system being so lacking, it was not worth my time. Also, if you beat the game on Hard Mode, you will unlock Trish. She's super freaking cool. Her moves are actually pretty fleshed out, and her attacks feels more like energetic and precise. It feels like I'm playing Dante from the original, and... oh wait, my god, she has the exact same moves from Dante from the original game. Why did you guys do this with Dante? And you know what's more disappointing about this? Playing Trish made me realize even more that this game could have been much better in terms of combat if they just put her moveset into Dante's. I'm so baffled right now after playing her. This video was really challenging to create as a huge DMC fan. After delving deep into the game, I realized that DMC2 in the right hands could have been something great. However, it falls short with this bland and uninspired design, lackluster levels, and puzzles that add little to the plot. It feels more like a fan-made DMC game or a hack-and-slash title with a Dante skin. If you're new to the series, you can comfortably skip this installment without missing much. Even after 20 years, it feels like the game just aged poorly and it doesn't hold up well to today's standards. Well, that's it for today, guys. I confess that it was fun to make this video because I wanted to play a controversial game just to see how it feels to make a video about it, and also to expand upon my game design knowledge and see if I can spot what games can also be bad. So if you watch everything up until now, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart that took your time to watch this video. You are awesome. Also, if you guys have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment down below so we can expand further into the discussion, always with respect. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a great week. I see you guys in the next video. And don't forget.
Yeah, let's go all the way to hell.